Good morning. Welcome to First Church of Religious Science here in New York City. Welcome to all of you on Zoom joining us now. Welcome to those of you who have joined us already in our meditation. This is our special Sunday gathering. This is Memorial Day weekend. It's our intention to uplift and educate our audience every single week and remind you of the power and the ability you possess. All of our lessons will offer suggestions on how to create a more empowered life. Ernest Holmes said there's power for good in the universe, greater than you, of which you are a part. So he's saying you're one with this one power and you can learn how to use it. As you come together and join us in any of our classes, you'll be learning. We'll be reminding you of the truth of your being, meaning you are an inlet and outlet of this activity, and we will be continually reminding you how you can use this power. In addition, we meet every Thursday at 7 for our Louise class based upon the book You Can Heal Your Life. And on Wednesday nights, we have a Creative Living Series class, which is a discussion class based on different topics every week. It's facilitated usually by Jimmy. In all of our classes, we approach self-healing using the metaphysical approach, as Louise Hay would say, the positive approach. All of our activities are designed to uplift and support you. Again, we use the same Zoom links on Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday, so just remember the links and you can come back. We have an e-letter that goes out most every week, filled with spiritual gems and the links. If you send your contact information to Jimmy in a private message, he'll be sure to send you the weekly invites, and you'll always know what's going on. You can also watch our broadcasts and our meditations now on Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, X, so join us in any of these locations. Our group and our work has grown significantly since COVID. After COVID, we became probably 95% virtual, and we've had over 10,000 people join us and inquire and send us messages this past year, and almost as many the year before. So we know we're doing important work. I was told years ago that we're doing important work, and we can't come down, we won't go down. Part of our work as a New Thought community in a virtual environment is learning how to adapt and grow. And that's really good. It's what all of us really want to do anyway. We don't live in yesterday, we live in today. Many of the religious science organizations that were around when I became a minister have closed. Some of them are attempting to learn to go virtual. So we want to adapt, and we have been. We were studying these trends back in the year 2015, 2016. So we anticipated going virtual. We didn't know COVID was ever going to happen, but we were ahead of the game a little bit. I believe our classes are broadcast every Thursday night. The Louise Hay material is really valuable. Louise Hay, by the way, was a student here at First Church. She became a practitioner here. She was learning the very same type of material that we teach here. So if you keep tuning in regularly, it's bound to have a cumulative effect. I would say sometimes there will be a quickening. So all I can say is tune in as often as you can. And if you can't be with us on the Zoom, you can always tune in and watch the broadcast on YouTube and Facebook. And more recently, we have a technician who's really good with Spotify, so he's putting the lessons and meditations up on Spotify for you. There's also a segment that's being done in Spanish, so stay tuned. So someone told me at least 40 years ago in a program, you've got to want it. And so I thought of that today. If you want to elevate your consciousness, you want to change your thinking, you want to have a better life, it's got to be something deep within the center of your being. It's got to be something you want. It won't happen just by casual thinking. So I was told all those years ago that I'll be amazed before I'm halfway through if I just stay with it. So that's what I'm going to suggest to people today. Stay with it. Tune in as often as you can. I also advocate meditating every day, doing affirmative prayer, working with your affirmations. Tune in as often as you can with us, because we're going to continually remind you of the truth of who you are, that you are an individualization of, we'll call it God life, we'll say you're an individualization of life itself, and that you have power at your disposal if you learn how to use it. And you can use it. Dr. Holmes would say some of us are using it very constructively because we're living the affirmative life, and we're seeing demonstrations of all kinds in terms of our health, our occupations, our relationships. But you can also use the power destructively. So if you have a consciousness where you're always in doubt and fear and anxiety, unknowingly you're working against yourself. It's like your consciousness is tripping you up. So you come here, and we're going to keep on reminding you of Louise Hay's positive approach, or what we will call taking the affirmative approach, teaching you affirmative prayer. And as you learn to do that, you're really developing a mystical approach to life, where you're beginning to see the good in all things, and you're starting to realize that you are unfolding in good, that you're centered in good, that you live, you move, you have your being in good. If any of you want to support our work, there's support options in the chat boxes. We always appreciate any support we receive. We proclaim and we know that we are supplied and supported in all ways. So your support blesses yourself, as does our work. So any amount of support is wonderful and always appreciated. Please never think that you're obliged to give anything here. What we do, we offer you out of love and the desire to help. So let's get into today's talk. Every week, when I was a kid, there'd be a song, "How Great Thou Art." We'd be thinking of the God in the heavens and all this. When we think of that phrase in a New Thought church, we'll say, "How great you are." So as I look at the audience, many weeks I say to you, "How great you are." This is something you come to realize in New Thought, that you are an inlet and outlet of God activity. You are divine, you're whole, you're the whole thing, you're the whole bit. Deep within the center of your being is tremendous potential, tremendous resources. So we hope you learn to inquire within. We hope you learn to realize that there's power within you that you can use. So that's a big change for a lot of people, because people used to, many people, some of you still may be looking to the heavens or looking for someone to save you or rescue you. When I was a kid, I was in Catholic school, and I was on my knees looking to heaven, praying for this, praying for that. So we've come a long way, some of us. And if you're not there yet, keep listening, and maybe you'll hear something that might be useful or helpful. What we're here to do always is to celebrate you and how far you have come. And you might be thinking, as I say, wonderful you, you might be thinking, who me? With all my problems, you're telling me I should be celebrating myself. And I'm saying, yes, ideally you are learning to love yourself, celebrate yourself, and realize that God doesn't make junk, that you are an inlet and outlet of the spiritual activity. And that you've already come a long, long way. You see, many people don't think that they've come very far at all. Louise Hay would say, all the people she works with, they don't feel like they're adequate, they're good enough. And what I'm here to counter is, as Louise Hay would say, is you've already conquered a lot, you've moved through a lot, you've grown a lot, you've evolved a lot. So people are quick to dismiss their growth, but you've already come a long way. So some of you might be old enough to remember the 1960s. Virginia Slim ran a commercial from the 60s, and the slogan was catchy. It says, "You've come a long way, baby." So that's the message for all of you today. You've come a long way. Every single one of you has already come a long way. You were a spiritual being. You are evoluting along. You're growing. It might be good on this Memorial Day to think back on how you've already grown. You've grown so much already. You don't think that way, many of you, because you're always looking about what's next. But it's helpful to, from time to time, be grateful and realize, my goodness, I've grown, I've expanded. I don't think the way I used to think. I don't act the way I used to act. I've come a long way. So let's take a moment and pause and recognize yourself for your growth on this wonderful Memorial Day weekend. And again, you've come a long way. We're here to remind you of the truth of who you are. Dr. Bill T., one of my better teachers over 30 years ago, said to me, and I'll say it to you today, those of you who are seriously working this teaching, living this teaching, you're involved in practicing affirmative living. That means using affirmations often to see the good, to see the God. Those of you who are doing this, who are involved in this practice, are really the true lifters in life. You're the person who's saying good and good job to people. You're continually looking to see the good. And so that's you, many of you on the call, and I know it. You're not thinking of yourself as such as that you're doing important work, but you are. Because of you, the world is a much better place because you're practicing, you're doing what you are. Each of you who are doing this are the lifters in your own time. You're lifting the world with your consciousness, you're lifting the world with your kindness, every gesture, every encouraging word. You're doing your best to assist others and yourself. You're building bridges. You're starting to understand that you are living in a world, a spiritual world, filled with spiritual connections. Every encounter you have is, in fact, a holy encounter. You're starting to understand that people are all in different places, and everyone's evolving everywhere in the world. All are spiritual beings, and I'll say they're evoluting along. They're in the perfect place, perfect time, and so are you. So those of you who are involved in the teaching are really beginning to understand that Spirit is always unfolding. And wherever you are, you're in the right place. You begin to understand that every encounter you're having with everyone anywhere is a holy encounter. You're starting to understand that there's something there for you in every situation you're involved in. You're learning to be cheerleaders, to see the good, the God in everything. You're learning to be the applauders of life. You're committed to seeing the good, even when the good isn't very evident to most people. That's your commitment. The fact that we have so many people here today, there's a huge audience, and many more will be watching the rest of the evening and the week. So many like-minded people coming together is really, really great. We here are all demonstrations, and we have demonstrations, we experience demonstrations, and at the center we're getting so many emails and messages, it's really tough to keep track of them now. And we hear them, we read them, and quite honestly, it's astounding. And then we have our time of community sharing where people are sharing their demonstrations, and that's really the best thing because everyone can hear how principle is working in their life. In other words, as you share how your practice is demonstrating results, and not only does it strengthen it for you, but everyone else gets, you inspire everyone else. And it really shows us that people are understanding that they have power to use. And that power is definitely impacting their lives. This is all happening as people are learning to practice what we call affirmative living, or what Louise Hay would say, being involved in the positive approach. In my background through therapeutic circles, they would say these are people who are committed to doing the work. The work can be as simple as being dedicated to changing your perception. I've had so many lessons and so many teachers who would always say to me at any juncture, any point in time, I could see peace. I could see peace instead of this. So when you're going through something, you're reacting to something, someone, or some fact of your life, you know, there's the thing. You could see peace instead. You could see the fullness of God. You could see the good instead. So we're always at choice. We're not a victim of the world we see. That's another really important lesson. You are the center of your world. You are the center. And you have dominion over your own thoughts and your thinking. So one of the things we learn to do here is to take a pause and stop and realize, I have the power. I can give it away, or I can take charge of this. I'm the only thinker in my mind. I can be here now, and I can see the truth. I can see the good, I can see the God. I can know and realize that I live, move, and have my being in this divine activity, and it responds to me. So this work can be as simple as being preoccupied with seeing the good or the God. That's really taking what we call the positive approach, and it's the mystical approach, because you're looking away from what everyone else is seeing. You're looking away from the appearances. Even though you're aware of the facts, you're looking away from the appearances, and you're focusing on the truth. The truth about yourself, the truth about the other person, the truth about the situation. And, you know, that's an incredible gift if you have that gift. There's a line from the Course in Miracles, which I quote from time to time when I get to places and lessons like this, which is, it takes great wisdom to understand that all circumstances, happenings, and events are helpful. See, if you're coming to that point in your spiritual growth, you're becoming unflappable because you are realizing that you're a center of spiritual activity, and you're meeting that with everyone you meet in every encounter. So you're getting to a place where you refuse to be offended, where you're not taking things quite as personally, and you're growing. So wherever you are in that continuum, it's good. All of us are evolving, we're all growing. Each of us are individualizations, and all of us are doing the best we can at any given moment in time. And we will do more. We will continue to grow. Any situation you find yourself in, all situations are unfolding. The whole universe is unfolding. So having the consciousness to realize that you're always interacting with spirit, and you're interacting with people who are doing the best they can at any given moment in time with the consciousness they have, that's, you know, that shows that you've already grown quite a bit, and you will continue to. And you're realizing that you're good, and you are an eternal being, you're one with the one, you are an individualization of this divine activity, and everything is unfolding in divine order. So when I was younger, I would hear people say, all is well in God's world. This is the very same idea that we teach here. We will say a little differently. We are in the perfect place, perfect time, all of the time. Meaning everything's unfolding in divine order. And so we can relax and we can have faith. Or we can do, as Louise Hay would say, we can trust the process of life to be there for us. Our audience has now grown. Most broadcasts are 150, and by the time the week's over, we know that probably 300 people have watched the session. And the same is true on most of our segments. So there's over 1,000 people a week, and if you count all the other medias, well over that, receiving this really important message. And this is a testament to the transformative work that we do here. I want to thank everyone who's on the call, who supports our valuable work. Today is Memorial Day weekend. We give honor to all the people who have given their lives to protect us. And we're going to do more than that today, because we want to give thanks to everybody who has nurtured us and been there for us. So I want you in your mind to bring to your mind every person who's touched you, helped you, nurtured you, or anyone that you think could benefit by your affirmative prayers today. We're here to think about them today in love and in light. And then, of course, in thanksgiving for being in our lives. And in terms of Memorial Day itself, it's an important day. Memorial Day is a day of remembrance also, or primarily for those who have died in service to the country. The holiday dates back to the end of the Civil War. Originally, it was known as Declaration Day. It was a time where the nation decorates the graves of the war dead with flowers. Memorial Day became formalized after World War II, and where poppies were worn as a symbol of remembrance and hope, inspired by the famous war poem In Flanders Field. In fact, it became formalized through World War I and World War II. So And after that, we honor those who have served in Vietnam, Korea, Iraq, Afghanistan, and every other place of conflict. Each of these wars has its own history and significance, touching the lives of millions of people. To the families who have lost loved ones during any of these events, we acknowledge your suffering, we acknowledge your loss of the people, your family members. We bring you into our prayers today. And I know there's many of you that have lost people, so let's bring all these folks into our prayers today, saluting everyone and thanking everyone for their sacrifices. This is a time also to remember those who have served us in other ways. Police officers, first responders, and everyone who has put their life on the line. I remember during the times of COVID, you've got nurses, you've got doctors, you have everybody. So there's a lot of people who are no longer here, who were here supporting us all. I want to take a moment to reflect on the profound sacrifices that have been made by so many for all of us. And then I came to mind, there's a tomb in Arlington Cemetery. It's a tomb to the unknown soldier. I'm sure many of you have heard about it before. This monument reflects those who have given their lives without any recognition, symbolizing the unknown and unclaimed soldiers who died in the service of this country. The inscription to the unknown soldier reads, "Here rests in honor, here rests in honored glory an American soldier known but to God, no one else." This is a very powerful reminder of the anonymity and the broad scope of sacrifice. I'll read it one more time. "Here rests in honor and glory an American soldier known but to God." I've got another poignant story of Lieutenant Michael Murphy, who was a Navy SEAL who received a Medal of Honor posthumously for his heroic actions in Afghanistan. Despite being wounded, Lieutenant Murphy exposed himself to enemy fire to get a clear signal to communicate with his team. Unfortunately, he saved all their lives at the cost of his own. There's lots of stories like this that remind us that Memorial Day is not just about barbecues and parades. It's about remembering the real human beings who gave everything for a cause larger than themselves. So there's a lot of people to honor: law enforcement, medical people, the people who've been in all these skirmishes I mentioned. From a New Thought perspective, we can draw upon the teachings of Ernest Holmes, who said, "Life isn't just something to be endured, it's to be lived with joy and fullness without limit." That's a beautiful statement. Life is not just something to be endured, it's to be lived in joy and fullness without limit. This powerful statement reminds us that life is meant to be a vibrant, joyous experience, not just an act of survival, trying to get by. On this Memorial Day, we honor those who've given their lives in service, recognizing their sacrifice was made in the spirit of protecting and uplifting others. They lived their lives fully in service and in joy, and through their ultimate sacrifice, they left an indelible mark on our hearts and history. Louise Hay teaches us about the power of healing through love and through forgiveness. She said, "Love is the greatest miracle cure of all. Loving ourselves works miracles in our lives." As we remember those who have passed on or are no longer with us, service people, our own families, let us also extend our love to ourselves and to all around us. We're all spiritual beings, so let's extend that love to everyone, beginning with ourselves. Let us use this day to heal any wounds of loss with the balm of love. Let's forgive ourselves. Let's forgive others. I'd like you to imagine the immense power of a community such as this, united in love, sending waves of healing energy to those who need it most. Love is not only a cure, but it's a bridge that connects us all, each and every one of us. Imagine this going out everywhere. It's needed. It transcends all time and space. In the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson, to know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. Again, from Ralph Waldo Emerson. To know that just one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. We can see this reflected in the lives of those we honor today. Their legacy of service has made our world a much better place, and it's our privilege to remember them and honor them. Think about the countless lives that they have touched, the families they've protected, and the freedoms they have preserved. Their courage and their dedication have created ripples of positive change that extend far beyond their lifetimes. So let's remember the words of Florence Scovel Shinn, who said, "Divine love, through me, now dissolves all seeming obstacles and makes clear, easy, and successful my way." Again, from Florence Scovel Shinn. Divine love, through me, now dissolves all seeming obstacles and makes clear, easy, and successful my way. The sacrifices of our fallen heroes have often cleared the way to a better, safer world. As we honor them, we also commit to living our lives with the same sense of purpose and love, allowing divine love to guide us and dissolve any obstacles in our path. Neville Goddard once said, "Love is not love if it's not forgiving. Love is not love if it's not willing to give." This Memorial Day, let us embody this profound truth. Let us forgive, let us give, and let us love with all our hearts. In so doing, we not only honor those who have passed, but we also ensure their legacy of love and service continues to illuminate the world. As we reflect on our teaching, this beautiful teaching, let us take to heart the wisdom also of Wayne Dyer, who reminded us, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. So let's see Memorial Day not as just a day of mourning, but as a day of great celebration of the lives that have paved the way for our freedom and our peace. Let's honor everyone's memory by living our lives fully, joyfully, and with a heart full of gratitude. Today we're reminded that every single act of love, every gesture or kindness that we extend, every little moment of forgiveness is a tribute to those who have shown us the way. As we gather here, let's be inspired by their example. Let their legacy of love and service be the guiding light in our lives. Let's commit to being lifters always, the applauders of life, the healers, the joy bringers to the world. And so it is. So let's take a moment of thanksgiving for all that people have come before us, who've done service, who've helped us. First responders, law enforcement officers, people in the armed services, men and women, our own family members. I recognize that there is one infinite source, one creative intelligence that permeates all existence. This source is the essence of love, peace, and harmony. It's the unifying force that binds the entire universe, the divine presence that flows through every single atom, every being, and every star in the sky. It is the breath of life that sustains us all, the eternal energy that powers our thoughts, our actions, and our very existence. In acknowledging this infinite source, we understand that we are all part of something much greater than ourselves. This source is not distant or separate from us. It is the core of our being, the heart of our soul, the light within us that guides us. By deeply recognizing and feeling this connection, we open ourselves to the boundless love and wisdom that flows from this divine presence. I know that I'm one with this source. It flows through me, as me, and around me, connecting me to all beings. In this unity, there's no separation, no division, only the seamless flow of the divine energy that links us to all. Each and every one of us are vital and important and connected. This realization brings harmony with all of creation, with every person, every creature, and every element of nature. We are all representations of the same divine love and intelligence. I realize that this divine presence expresses itself as love, service, and sacrifice through the lives of those we honor today. I affirm their spirits are filled with peace and their sacrifices are recognized today and appreciated. Just as the sun shines equally on all, so does this divine presence manifest in countless ways through the actions and hearts of individuals. Today, we honor the military personnel, first responders, and all the people who serve. All of them are embodiments of divine light. Again, their courage, their dedication, selflessness are expressions of the source within them. By recognizing all this, we see their true nature, their divine purpose behind their actions. We affirm their spirits are embraced by the peace and love of the infinite source, inspiring us to live, again, with greater love and commitment. I give thanks for the awareness of their acts, their service, and the love of these individuals, the love they brought into the world. I'm grateful for their contributions to our safety and well-being. Their actions born of love and dedication have created ripples of positive change that extend far and wide. I release these words into the universal law, knowing they're already manifesting, and I let them go, and so it is. We release our prayers and our intentions with faith and confidence. We know the universe is responding, that our words and thoughts are being shaped right now. Now, during our community time, which will be next, you'll have an opportunity to share your memories of people who have touched your heart. Maybe there's people in the service, maybe there's been a police person or a medical person or someone that you would like to recognize. And to all of our parents and grandparents and people who have gone before, let's recognize them too. And so it is. Thank you.